Hi, everyone, and welcome back to AIADA's AutoTalk. I'm your host, Rachel Soleimani. It's officially spring, which means today we'll kick off the first webinar of our spring series. For any new listeners, anyone who has registered for today's program will be receiving a copy by early next week. And if you have any questions, be sure to enter them into the Q&A bar at the lower right-hand side of your interface. Joining us today from Dealer Teamwork is Eric Milch, co-founder and VP of Search, and Luke Branson, SEO lead. Dealer Teamwork has been an AIADA affinity partner for about 6 years now, and it's been a little bit since we've had you guys back on, so I'll let you have the floor.
Thanks, Rachel. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Milch, co-founder and VP of Search here at Dealer Teamwork, and I'm joined by our amazing SEO lead, Luke Branson. And today's AIADA webinar is really just all about helping you guys stay ahead of the curve. We're going to dive into some game-changing digital requirements that dealers just simply can't refuse to miss right now. And the key thing is, this isn't theory. This is all great stuff that we're sharing that is real practical strategies that are driving actual real results for dealers all across the country. So with that, let's jump in, and hopefully we challenge a little bit of your thinking as well. And we'll hope you leave today with even more smarter ways, hopefully, to improve your marketing performance and, most importantly, your bottom line. Luke, I'll let you dive in here.
All right, thank you, Eric.
Absolutely.
So today's agenda, the key points that we're going to talk about first is Google's quality rules, understanding the key metrics that drive local visibility and performance. Next, we're going to get into the backyard local visibility and the strategies you can use to dominate your local search market against the competition. Eric's going to talk about maximizing Google PMax so we can leverage that to success for automotive standards, as well as how you can get into smarter audience targeting to capture those high value shoppers. I'm going to get back into landing page optimizations and how creating a seamless customer journey from ad to conversion is basically the bread and butter of this. And then the little bonus on top is how to maximize your creative assets through our Act Now strategy of automation, consistency, and trust. And starting off here with Google's quality rules. So the first thing obviously is you want to know them. You want to understand the priorities that Google's looking for the quality score in the landing page experience. The next step is implementing location-based landing pages. And for me, that's working with my dealers through pump in, pump out reports, maybe some other tools like AutoFlight to make data-driven decisions on which market we should go after with these location-based pages to kind of fill in the gaps that maybe it's supplementing paid or making sure that SEO and SEM are not fighting with each other, but rather working together for a total search strategy. And the final thing here is your backyard local visibility. So how can you dominate the local presence with accurate business information? That's NAP, your name, address, and phone number, and making sure that you have consistent location targeting across all of those directories. So why these quality scores of the landing pages matter? The first one is it's costing you money if it's not good enough. So a lower quality score can cause potentially a penalty of up to 64% higher cost per clicks. And that is also reflected if your quality score is below 5 or 50%, it will raise your cost per acquisition by 16% for every quality score below that average of 5 out of 10. And finally, landing pages. The reason they're important is because websites that use between 10 and 15 landing pages will get 55% more leads than those with fewer. So making sure we have relevant landing pages, as I mentioned earlier, is extremely important. And getting into why these location-based landing pages are important, we have 4 great reasons for that. The first one is it helps build credibility in the local market. So if you're a user and you're clicking on an ad with a certain lease price or finance payment that you're looking for, and you click on it and you go to a landing page and that disappeared, the model, the price, the discount, they're probably going to bounce and never shop with you again. So that's the first pillar. The second one is we want to drive engaging traffic. So we want to make sure that all of the landing pages are loaded up with relevant dynamic content that is, one, answering the user's questions, and 2, it's keeping them around so they're engaging. They're sticking around for 10 plus seconds while triggering an event so we can get that engaged traffic. as well as implementing other engaging elements like Google Maps, Google reviews, and YouTube videos. The more Google products that you can add on your website, to no shocker, Google's going to like that even more. And also, customers are used to it, whether it's just playing around with the Google Maps so that they can click to get directions, leaving a review right on the site, or just kind of reading through some of those like 5-star reviews, making sure going back to that first thing that you guys are building some credibility. The third is making sure that we spread your brand message, whether that's you guys are the local leader in commercial or EV, just making sure that it's a local family owned and operated since whatever. We want to make sure that we're staying consistent through across all of our landing pages. And finally, this is going to this is going to extend the organic visibility of your guys' dealership. So in other words, we're going to make sure that if someone is near the city that you guys are in and they're searching anything new, used, CPO, service, EV, hybrid, for Honda, Hyundai, Lexus, Toyota, you guys are going to be Google's trusted source for that, making it so you guys are also all the customers' trusted source for anything related to your brand. So this is getting into that backyard visibility. This is one of my dealers I work with in Los Angeles. You can see on the left, that is for the keyword Honda dealer, what their average ranking was on July 11th of 2024. You can see that around 67% of them had a top three ranking, which is pretty solid. You would expect, though, for a keyword like that, that you would have pretty good visibility right by your dealership. But as you can see, if you go southwest towards like Inglewood or kind of on the west north side of Culver City, they were losing those top three rankings. So going back to location-based landing pages, I worked with the dealer. We figured out what's the biggest priority market. And at first, it was Culver City because there's another dealer in there that we wanted to conquest some market from. And the second one was Inglewood on the bottom left. There was a Honda dealer maybe 5 to 10 miles south of that, which made Inglewood a complete battleground for who's going to have the market share. After building out nearby city location pages for those cities, we were able to finally build up those top three rankings. And as you can see from 5 days ago when we reran this, they had a 100% top three rating with the average keyword position in those various locations for Honda dealer being 1.3. So that's showing how important your backyard visibility is. Eric, is there anything you want to add to this?
No, you nailed it, Luke. I mean, this is what it's all about, everybody, in terms of being able to leverage today's data, being able to make better decisions, to be able to find those opportunities, and again, really be able to move the needle. But again, I think the strongest point to make here is notice that time frame. This does not happen overnight. This is on a week to week basis. This is like watching paint dry. So it does take some time and commitment and patience, obviously, but doing the right things consistently over time is going to ultimately pay off. So keeping your eye on the prize is key. Go on to the next one. So let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about maximizing PMAX effectiveness. Everybody has obviously heard of PMAX, I'm sure. There may still be some skepticism around it in terms of its ability, but to break it down into three simple topics and categories for you, it's a surefire way to be able to maximize the exposure that you need for your brand. And again, showing your brand across all of the Google channels between search and YouTube, display, Gmail, and more. Again, that's how you're going to be able to build that brand. And I will say this, mark my words going forward, impressions are going to be even more valuable as things start to change even more, not only on the paid side of things, but also with the AI overviews within search. Another key point as well is the lack of opportunities that dealers take advantage of in terms of using the right assets. There are so many things that can be loaded up into each campaign. So just make sure that each campaign has the strong asset base in terms of the text, the images, the video, and especially even your first party audience data. Leverage all of that. And then lastly, this is something that is a common occurrence that can really save quite a bit of money and also headache. Is just I like to call it just blocking the wasted impressions. by adding those negative keywords and the content exclusions. And what does that mean? Just basically excluding poor placements. Like, you don't want your ads to be placed into games or even mature sites or just any questionable site. It's basically to avoid wasting that budget. That's a key point, again, that is often overlooked. Luke, I'll shift it back to you. You can talk a little bit more about the optimized landing pages.
Thank you, Eric. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you're in that part of the customer journey where you realized everyone now is a payment shopper, so you've allocated, $650 a month for your car payment. So you start searching, you realize you want a BMW X3, and you see that ad on the top left. That's great. They have four in stock. They're $635 a month. So you click on that ad and you go to a landing page. One of the things that I see consistently across the automotive industry is that they end up going to a filtered SRP where that lease price, that finance price, the discount that they saw in the ad is either not displayed or even worse, the vehicle is sold and it's no longer on the lot. So, what we want to make sure is that when a user clicks on that ad and they go to our landing page, the first number they see is that $635 a month for a lease, because that's the reason they clicked on it. And second, we want to make sure that there's easy conversion. So click to get special. That's going to be a form fill. You can click to call. You can view the VDP. You can apply for financing. It makes it an easier experience for the shoppers, especially on mobile devices, which is crucial nowadays because that's going to be a majority of traffic. And then finally, it's going to build that engagement and the trust that they have in your guys' dealers. As I mentioned earlier, if you click on an ad and all of a sudden that model that you wanted is no longer there, I'm not going to shop at that dealer anymore. So making sure that we have this experience built in with that relevant content that I was talking about earlier. We want to make sure that we have frequently asked questions, the answers to those. Other Google products like Google Maps, reviews, and even YouTube videos. It could be from the OEM or it could be dealership specific. Maybe you guys have a walk around video. Maybe you want to show off how cool the service waiting room is. Those are all relevant pieces of topics and content that we would add to our landing pages to further get that engaged users on it. And if we flip forward to the next slide, this is an example of one of our model specific landing pages. So you can imagine you realize you want a BMW 3 Series, you've allocated yourself around $550 a month, that's what you can afford, and you find that ad that says you can lease it for 449 or 549 bucks. That's the first thing you're going to see in that top section for us. That's what you call a featured dynamic header right there. It's going to show your featured ad. But then a little bit below that is going to start the carousel of all the other offers within that same model. And as you can see, top left is that exact model that they were advertising on. So there's no confusion. You're not showing up at an inventory page where you can't find the right price. It's all there front and center. And then below all those ads is going to be the rest of that relevant content, whether it's talking about leasing versus financing and showing off all the trims and the pricing and the interior and exterior specs. So making sure that we have all that relevant content is awesome, but you want to make sure that the customer, when they click on that ad, they go to a dynamic landing page where that price they see is the first thing. So it's the easiest from starting to click on an ad to you're one click away from a form fill. That's exactly what we're going for here with these relevant landing pages. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Eric?
Now I'm going to go back. I think we may have missed a slide. Yeah, this one. Unfortunately, I just skipped past this. This is one of my favorite things. Again, back when I was a dealer, one of the biggest questions we always asked ourselves in the store was, are the efforts that we're putting forward, are they helping sell cars? And I always referred to that as disc. And the question that I would also ask was, what if our vehicles were being seen in more places? Essentially, why do we have to just simply rely on the SRPs and VDPs? So my goal back then was, and it was one of the inspirations for creating Dealer Teamwork initially, was let's make all the pages helpful and relevant, not just make them like digital brochureware that are dead end pages that really don't offer up anything of value. So again, taking it to that next level, in answering that question, I wanted to be able to provide optimized content. obviously have it convert can optimize for the ultimate in conversions with dynamic CTAs. But most importantly, I wanted to be able to show my cars in their current offers in more places. And that's what essentially led to this type of approach. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning, these are real world practices that have paid off for our clients and for our dealers. So that's why we're excited to continue to share that type of approach and philosophy with everybody. Now we'll go back forward, Luke. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, so next topic we'll jump into is what I like to call just taking that action and just acting on it by leveraging everything that's available in today's time for having a regimented, consistent, dynamic, creative solutions process. Everybody in the industry knows about obviously the need for having creative services, and with regards to the banners and the assets that are needed and used. But where we are at in today's time, everybody, it, we're at the point in time where we really need to start asking different questions in terms of how do we make this better in terms of the process, how do we make it better in terms of the efficiency within that process as well. So between these three key pillars in terms of having again a consistent automation process that does incorporate AI even, and then also allowing that to be as consistent as possible again, throughout the entire process, so there's no breakdowns. And again, that's where the efficiency comes from. But again, another key theme here is the last one that you'll hear quite a bit today, and that's the trust. Building the brand has to be a part of all of these activities together, so that you show up the same way everywhere. And as Luke said, buyers remember, and they will never forget that bad experience that they've had. I still have sites that I just simply will not go to if I happen to click on it in my search results, especially on my phone, because my memory is telling me, hey, these sites last time I was here were very, very slow. So build that trust around the brand with that type of dynamic process. And then again, what's the outcome of that type of process? Being able to leverage the campaigns that are available and the assets that are available, as I said before, in terms of the PMAX campaigns, and having real time offers be embedded and injected into these campaigns. And you can see on the left, this is your typical ad. This is what unfortunately most consumers are stuck with. And even in this static display format, the ability to still have a dynamic element embedded into that effort, that makes all the difference in the world to be able to deliver an engaging and relevant type of ad, because this is how you're going to be able to again build that trust. And again, being able to have live payments from your inventory, it just makes it feel timely, and it makes it feel relevant, much more relevant. And then again, having stronger offers helps you turn those browsers into buyers literally from the ad. So now you start improving your performance from an otherwise lower performing type of asset group. And then one of the key elements from that, again, is being consistent with the process that you're using to have that multi-channel distribution, because this is so critical. These are just four of many sizes that are available, obviously, but being able to have responsive images that look good on every device, having the right size in the right place just means more eyes on your ads, obviously. But being able to move to having customized sizing for any different type of effort that you absolutely need for the campaign, but having the key elements too in terms of a leaderboard or for your mobile banner, and again being able to utilize other asset classes like the PMAX landscape. Again, being able to improve your ad performance across all channels, that just helps. Again, it looks cleaner, loads faster, and then ultimately this is how you wind up again. There's that building of the trust and building of the relevance. And again, the more you can feel professional and build that trustworthiness, this shows that your brand truly cares about that user experience, which ultimately will hopefully increase the chances that your shoppers will in fact take action, because that's what it really comes down to. And it's just, it's not about just relying on one single magic bullet. It's about having everything in your entire arsenal working together. So that's really everything in a nutshell today. Again, as Dealer Teamwork is proud to be the exclusive partner, digital marketing partner for the AIADA. We want to be able to offer additional benefits for all of the dealers, in the association as well. And all you need to do is just simply contact marketing at dealerteamwork.com with a simple subject line of AIADA audit. Add your website URL, and we'll give you a completely objective audit and review on everything, including your LSEO audits, your directory citations. We'll take a look at examples of your local map competitive rank, so we can show you what some of the opportunities, or even validate how well things are working for you. And then lastly, if you'd like, we'll even do a full comprehensive analytics and website review. Again, the ability is there to find more gaps and more opportunities, and just, again, find real performance opportunities for you. Do we have any questions for today?
Eric, we had one question that came in. I'll read it for you. Google seems to be pushing Performance Max campaigns, but my dealership has been reluctant to make the switch. What are your thoughts?
Again, this is a common thing we hear quite often. One of the latest developments that have actually changed a lot of people's perception and view of these PMAX campaign is that opportunity um, for the additional exclusions, the negative keywords, but also the newest feature of being able to actually see keyword performance, because that was one of the negatives and the, again, perceived downfalls, that you couldn't see all the data behind the keywords that were triggering the ads. So now that Google is offering up that new layer of transparency, again, I have to give it two thumbs up. It's, again, on its own as a singular tactic, I don't recommend it as being, again, that catch-all magic bullet, so to speak. But again, pair it with a consistent, regimented type of plan and approach. And as long as it's set up right, and again, obviously managed and tracked properly, you've got the makings for incredible success.
Well, Eric and Luke, thanks so much for joining us today and for this great presentation. Again, you'll all be receiving this presentation and recording by early next week. To those on the line, join us back here Tuesday, April 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern as Comply Auto presents website tracking technologies and cookie compliance. So be on the lookout for promotions on how to register. For more information about AIADA, visit aiada.org. Have a great day, everyone.